Welcome to Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, back again with another episode. In this episode, me and Michael, my friend and co-host here, we're going to be talking about a few questions that he received from a student in Utah. We participate in this program where we're answering questions from college students out there, and I've really been enjoying this. I wish we were getting more, but it is what it is. Michael, you want to introduce yourself before we get started?
Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for having me again, and I look forward to answering these questions. You know, these are some thought-provoking questions.
Dig that. So with that said, I want you everybody just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, Michael, let's get straight to it, man. Is there anything you want to say first before we get started in relation to the letter that you received? Anything that you might want to address? Because I think we got 3 questions on here that they want us to answer. Do you want me? I don't need to read the letter, but
you can read the questions.
Read the
Go
questions.
from there.
Okay, let's jump straight into it. Question number 1 is: what type of violence have you witnessed in prison, and how has it affected you? Yeah, that is a good one.
Well, I can't say that I've seen anybody getting killed, but I've seen stabbings, full-fledged riot, and that's probably the basic violence that I've seen.
Okay, be a little bit more descriptive then about the stabbing.
Well, it was at another prison, of course, and we were sitting in the pod, and some guys were playing dominoes.
Yeah.
And they had the table up against the wall, but
Right.
the guy that was sitting up against the wall was his partner.
Yeah.
Didn't tell him there was a guy coming.
He's seeing him coming. He
Saw
don't
him,
even let him know.
saw him coming, didn't tell him. So the guy stabbed him in the back a few times, and
Wow.
that was that.
Did they fight?
No, it was over after he stabbed him a few times. The guy
He didn't even get up.
He didn't get up. He stuck him, laid him down,
Laid him
and
down.
the dude went on about his business.
Yeah.
And so, he had to be fresh, because after spending some time in prison, when things get quiet, you know to look.
Something's happening, right?
You know to look around. And at this particular place, it's always loud.
Right.
And it got so quiet you can hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
So he didn't even bother looking around. He steady playing dominoes.
Not paying any attention.
Not paying any
Makes
attention.
me wonder the way you described that about his dominoes partner is right there, and he could see the guy coming. He didn't say anything. Makes me wonder if he knew.
Might have set him up.
Yeah, might have set him up. That's how it happens in here sometimes. So did the guy make it to the hospital all right?
Yeah, he
Get
survived.
out?
Yeah, he survived.
He survived?
Everything survived.
So the second part of that question, before I get to, answering the question, how did that affect you?
I don't know that it really affected me much. The only thing it really did was made me more aware of my
Right.
surroundings. Like if I'm asleep or something, when I had somebody in the cell with me, now I'm in a single man cell.
Right.
When I'm in the cell with somebody, if I'm asleep and that door opens up, boom,
Straight up.
you wake straight up.
Right.
So it made me more aware of my surroundings.
Right. I've seen stickings, like you said, full-fledged riots. Seen a killing, graphic, very graphic, a lot of blood. It's mostly gang-related, the situations that I witnessed. A couple of them I was in, but I didn't do any sticking and didn't get stuck on. Let's make that clear. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it affected me in a lot of different ways, but more than anything, like it made me more aware of my surroundings. It made me more aware of the people that I even allow in my circle, close to me,
Yeah.
real cautious. And I think that's carried over with the way I act today, because this, like I said, I've been here for about 7 years, and that type of stuff doesn't happen here. It hasn't while I've been here. Let's just put it that way.
Not yet.
Not yet. I'm pretty sure it's coming, but that's just the nature of it. But the other places that I've been, and these things go down every day. I just didn't let people get around me, and it affected me like that. I noticed, where my family noticed, you know, when I would go to visit, I'm constantly looking around, uneasy, and it takes a few minutes before I can relax and calm down when I go to visit. I'm always aware. I'm really on. You stay on that heightened level. You know what I'm saying? And not really in that environment. You can't trust anybody.
No.
And that's the hard thing right there. You know?
Yeah.
Because you don't know if the person that's sitting there kicking with you, like in the dominoes game that you witnessed. Yeah. You don't know if it's a gang brother or whoever it may be. You don't know if that's setting you up.
Yeah, because it can sure happen.
Yeah, and they'll be smiling in your face. I'm gonna give you an example, man. We was on the weight pile one day, right? I'm not gonna call any of the guy's name, but we were on the weight pile working out. And there was this one brother, he's one of the guys, and for those of you that don't know, when I say one of the guys, I'm talking about gang related, one of the folks, right? We're up there working out one day, man, and the dude that's been chosen to be beat up, put it that way. He had been put in violation. They wanted him gone, right? And they didn't want to go about it the traditional way, meaning, you know, the way you go in the room, get him up and all that. Yeah. So when he got down on the bench press, he's getting ready to do the bench press. You know, it's two and a quarter on the bar. Yeah. So when he gets it up, he lifts him. You know what I'm saying? He get about 3 or 4 good reps, and when he started struggling, bro behind him supposed to help him get it up, right? What he did is let him get weak enough, push that weight down on him and held him down. And then another brother straddled him in the front, you know, where his body's at. Yeah. And picked up another 45 plate and just hit him in the face with it. Pow! Split it. Look here, man. Look here. I ain't nothing weak about me, right? When he hit him like that, I felt lightheaded. I said, oh no. I looked around and everybody's standing. Like you said, it was real quiet. Yeah. It was like he kept hitting. He kept hitting the dude leaking. Then he slides off the bench. He slid off the bench, real talk. Brother just rolled him over because he's out. He's unconscious. They just rolled him over, and to play it off, we kept working out. Just kept working because the police is over there. You feel me? Ain't nobody say he needs some help over here. Ain't nobody said nothing. He's laying there leaking. Blood is just like on a movie script. Blood is coming out his head, and then I'm looking. I'm like, I want to say something. Better not say nothing. He better not. Because I will be the next person on the ground. But it affected me like that. You just can't trust people. A lot of the people in here, you know, you become an animal to survive this environment. So I hope that helps you on that question. I'm not like that anymore, so just let you know. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave that hanging like that, right? The next question is, what do you do to help pass the time? Are there any programs that you have participated in that are worthwhile? You know, such as religious programs you participate in, such and such.
Well, I occupy my time. I've always had to read something educational. So my time is passed learning something. And of course, the Inside Out program that we participate in was my main thing program-wise. Right. But you know, you have to want to do it on your own. It's not something that the prison offers you, is our programs. We do these things on our own. I got a degree on my own through correspondence.
And explain that. When you say on your own, how? What? Who paid for it?
I paid for it.
You paid for it?
I paid for it out of pocket. I paid for that out of pocket. And you know, I got my HVAC certification on my own, out of pocket, without being taught here. Right. And, you know, I got the books sent in and learned things myself. So the occupying of time and things are things that we have to do ourselves. Programs we do ourselves. But we'll see with this new commissioner, you know, he's supposed to be program oriented. Yeah. And we'll see if we get more of these programs. And as far as religious, I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and of course the brothers come out. Yeah. And I've been participating in that since '98. So.
Yeah, that's good. Let me see. For me, I do my podcast. I work on shows. In the past, kind of like Michael, I mean, you got to come up with your own things and ways to pass time. When I was in rotation, participating in gang activities, You know what it is. That's what we did. But now I focus 100% on my business, running my podcast, and all the things that come with it, putting together shows and whatnot. Other than that, it's just there are no programs that are worthwhile to me. I mean, the things that they do have, because of the sentence that I have, life sentence, I'm not going to be allowed to participate in them.
Yeah, and that was the craziest thing about it. When I went out to Bledsoe in 08 to take the HVAC class, they told me I had too much time.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't have a life sentence.
Yeah.
You know, and they said, you have too much time. We have to let people that are 10 or under in the class first.
Yeah.
So they sat there with 4 openings in their class.
And wouldn't even let you in.
And wouldn't let me in, and waited till 4 people got off the bus that had less than 10 years to put them in there.
It's just like with the Pell Grant. I heard that the Pell Grant is back for people that are incarcerated, right?
Yeah.
But not for those individuals that have a lot of time. I don't know how that works, but that's what I was told. So, I mean, education is valuable to anybody, whether you're getting out or not, because I believe the more educated a person becomes, that violence that dominates, permeates prison, it'll go away. You know what I mean? Back in the day, when I first came into the prison system, man, you could get a PhD in here. And you had got a lot. I mean, stuff went on back then. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everybody was involved in whatever was going on, but the people that I knew that were in school, they were not doing any of the nonsense, man. And I'm talking about some of those guys were hardcore.
Yeah.
They were hardcore, man. But when they were in school, they were in school. And they were serious about that. So I don't understand why people that have large sentences, violent charges are exempt from the program. I just don't get that. But anyway, yeah, that other than that, you know, with religious programs, I go to church on Tuesday nights. But other than that, I got to do it myself.
Yeah.
And that's been my experience. You know, way back in the day when I first came in, they had a lot of programs that you could get into. But depending on which commissioner we have, they take that away and give it back, take it away and give it back. It's never anything consistent to the point to where, like, let's change the whole culture of prison. It's not like that.
And then I was watching the documentary in New York. They have one that they're doing in New York, and it's a certain prison that they go to. And if you get a write-up, you get kicked out of the program and shipped from the prison.
Right.
I mean, why can't these other states copy that model?
I'm serious. I don't get that, man. I don't understand why people don't want us to change. If one of the points about putting somebody, you know, holding people accountable, put them in prison, is that you don't want that pain to happen to anybody else. I hear that all the time, and I believe that, and I understand that. But one of the ways that you can ensure or mitigate further crime is to educate the people that are involved in this stuff, so they can come to the realization on their own that this is not what I want to do. I am somebody that deserves better because I can do better. But it's almost like the people that run prison, I'm not going to say any one particular prison, I'm just talking about the system in general. It's almost like they say that, you know, it is what it is. We're not going to do anything to really change it. We're just going to cherry pick it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. And but the culture of prison stays the same. It just over time. This hasn't really changed.
You know, when they stopped the Pell Grants, they were saying that they didn't want people in prison getting free education off their money. You know, off their money.
Yeah, and because they said it was depriving people on the streets, you know, that wanted to go to school from being able to go to school, which a lot of that wasn't true, but, you know, you don't have to be telling the truth to get people to pay attention to you, so.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Okay, let me get to this third question then. What do you wish you could tell your younger self about your life now? That's a good one right there.
You know, when I read it, I just have, I don't know. I don't know why. Because we did that in Dr. King's class, and letters to your younger self.
Right.
And I don't know why that's just a sticking point for me. I don't know why. I don't know what it is.
What does it make you think when you hear that question? I'm trying to understand.
I don't know. Maybe I can go off of you. I don't know. Maybe I can get a better one off of what you say.
Okay, I'll tell you what I read this before we did the show several times. And for me, I would tell my younger self to listen to my grandmother. Both of my grandparents raised me, right? And they told me about this place, because my dad was in this place. They told me to don't go down the same path, and I didn't listen. And another thing that I would tell my younger self is, like, I didn't know that I suffered from PTSD, right?
Yeah.
But looking back, there were signs everywhere. If I was walking home from work, I worked at JCPenney in the DECA program out of high school, right? And I would have to walk home after I get off work sometimes, you know? And I would have to walk through this alleyway. And anytime I was in that alleyway, I would have this overwhelming sense of fear. It would almost paralyze me. Every time I did it, and I'd strike out run all the way home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, when I felt like closed in or super duper alone, I would act out. I would act out every time. And I would tell my younger self, tell somebody how you really feel. Don't hide that.
Yeah.
Don't hide that, because there was something going on with me. I didn't understand what it was. My family didn't understand what it was. But looking back, if I would have said something to somebody, I'm almost certain that they would have done something, looked into it, tried to figure out something. Because I noticed when I would be around, depending on what crowd I would be with, if I'm around some kids, and I hate to use all this type of terminology about to use, good kids, if I was around a good group of people that not involved in this and not involved in that, I did what they did.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be accepted and validated by them. But if I was around this quote unquote kids that was always doing stuff and misbehaving and not obeying their parents, I did what they did. Because of the same reason, I wanted to be accepted and validated by them. I did not like to be alone. Now, as I've gotten older, I come to understand that that's connected to my mother's death and all that. I felt rejected and abandoned and all this. And it was something in my mind that made me feel like that when I found myself in certain situations. And I would tell my younger self, if you're not feeling right, tell somebody. You don't have to know the answer. Just say that I get afraid when I'm alone. I get afraid when people say they don't want to be around me. That rejection, I didn't know how to process that.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to process that. So that's what I would tell my younger self, and to ask for help.
Well, I guess I really did know what to say. I guess you speaking yours helped me articulate it. So I would say the grass is not greener on the other side. Because
you sure know what to say.
my mother worked hard to keep us out of the ghetto, to keep us out of the hood, you know, and I was raised in a house.
Yeah.
So in high school, I was called sellout because the way that I taught, the way that I acted, you know. And so I thought the way to be accepted by my peers at the time was to do as they do. And you know, the bad thing about it is all those people that I followed behind with doing that dumb stuff, none of them made it to prison. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that ended up in prison.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's like they just stopped. They clicked. And it was like they stopped, but I didn't.
Yeah, they probably looked at you and said, he's going too hard. You know what I mean?
So that's the main thing. The grass is not greener on the other side, and mom and my granddad and my grandmother were absolutely right.
And one more thing before we finish this that I would tell my younger self. When you're young, you know, your parents raised you, because you make me think about the way you said talk about your mom raised you. When you're young, you don't use, and your parents, most parents, my grandparents didn't tell me, they didn't use the words like moral compass, principles and things like, but they taught me those things, right? But they didn't use the words that I'm using to describe that. But I would tell my younger self, if you are around anybody that wants to influence you to go against what your parents or grandparents, whoever had in your life that raised you, that moral compass that they instilled in you, if you are around anybody that influences you to go against that, even in the smallest of ways, be careful. Because anybody that would ask you to go against the way you were raised by your parents or grandparents, whoever it is that love you, they are either very mature or they don't care about you, they're not really your friend. Now, that don't mean they're a bad person.
Yeah.
They're young too, so they're learning. You feel what I'm saying? And you don't want the way that they've been taught to rub off on you, to influence you to go against how your family, the people that love you, you don't want to go against the way they've taught you to be. You see what I'm saying? That's what I would tell my younger self also.
And your friends, the people that you call your friends, true friends don't get you to turn like that.
They're not going to do it.
Because a verse in what Dayton family said, your so-called friends aren't really your friends because they don't stay true.
Yeah.
So
that's right.
So those aren't your
That's
friends. And my mother had that. She had that big about calling friends.
Yeah.
Why are you so quick to call people friends?
Mm-hmm.
They're associates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're associates.
You know them.
Yeah.
That's about as far as it needs to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I had family members that, like cousins or whatever, they would ask me, I would get a job. I worked at an arcade. I worked at JCPenney. I worked at the wood plant. All of this was through the DECA program and stuff out of high school or whatnot, except for the job at the arcade. My, kinfolk ran it, but I would have family members, distant cousins, they would come to me because I was doing all of these things and try to, they did, try to talk me into, let me come in there and steal that coat out of JCPenney's. Let me come in there the night after you close the arcade and steal all the Sunkist orange drinks. Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And because they were family members and I didn't understand what was going on with me with my needing to be validated and not wanting to be rejected, I said, yeah. Then when I would go home and my grandmother would ask me, how was my day? And I'm so ashamed and embarrassed, I would say everything was okay, but it was a lie. And I didn't feel right because now I'm lying to my grandmother, you know what I'm saying, that loves me. But I didn't know how to tell her, I let you down again, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And remember this out there, y'all. Look, the people that love you, if you do something that you know that is going to be disappointing to them, tell them anyway, because they're the ones that are going to help you figure that out. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold secrets from them, because if you hold secrets from them, before long, all of those secrets are going to wrap you up, and you're going to end up doing something, and then they're going to say, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you ask for help?
Because I tell my niece all the time, it's like, look, tell me the truth no matter what it is.
No matter what it is.
No matter what it is. It
Yeah.
may hurt for a second, but
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah, but the truth is a whole lot better than a lie.
Yeah, and don't believe that because you mess up in life. Listen to me now. Don't believe that because you mess up in life, that your family, the people that really love you, are going to stop loving you because you messed up. They're not. You might think that, you might even feel that, but they're not. They're going to be disappointed because they expect better and they know you can do better, but they're not going to stop loving you. You know what I mean?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Well, anything else you want to say to those students out there that listen?
Sorry it took so long to answer that. We had some conflict in scheduling.
Well, whatever.
Scheduling conflict. We had scheduling conflict. But I
Yeah, we're
worked.
going to call it that. Yeah, we're going to call it that. What he's trying to say is I forgot. That's what he's important to be. But anyway, we got it worked out, man, and we really enjoyed doing this. I hope that we can do this again if y'all got any more questions or whatnot. And we really appreciate y'all even reaching out to ask us these questions. I hope it's been beneficial to anybody and everybody that's listening out there. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe with my co-host Michael. And I say peace, y'all.